Welcome to the morning news on AET. Today is Monday, 9th February. I am Samira Franklin. Coming up with the headline. Charity Caucus calls for cancellation of Ayawasa East Primary over vote buying allegation. NDC committee given February 10th deadline to submit Ayawasa East vote buying reports. Two arrested at Osu Cemetery over illegal grave digging. Abasuokan spare parts dealers threaten one-week strike over new VAT regime. Police arrest 53-year-old man of threat of death, unlawful possession of firearm. They are working on solutions to pay struggling cocoa farmers. Cocoa Board. News in detail. The majority caucus of the National Democratic Congress in Parliament has called for the immediate annulment of the party's recent parliamentary primaries in the Ayawasa East constituency over allegations of vote buying. In a statement dated February 8, 2026, and signed by a majority leader and leader of government business, Ama Ayariga, the caucus said it had been taking note of widely circulated allegations in inducements during the primaries. Caucus condemned the illegal acts, describing them as inconsistent with the party's commitment to ethnical politics and internal democracy. It said the decision was reached after extensive consultations among the leadership. The group has therefore urged the party's Functional Executive Committee to cancel the results and conduct a fresh primary, while recommending sanctions, including disqualifications for candidates found culpable. The call follows controversy surrounding reports that Mohammed Baba Jamal Ahmed alleged distributed items such as 32-inch television sets and boiled eggs to delegates during the voting process. Claims party insiders say may have influenced the outcome. Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor had announced investigations to similarly vote buying allegations involved both the NDC and the New Patriotic Party. The NDC has also set up three-member committee to probe the Ayawasa East allegations and proposed measures to prevent inducement in future internal elections. The committee is expected to submit its report on February 10, 2026. The majority caucus said the move forms part of effort to restore integrity and public confidence in Ghana's democratic process. The National Democratic Congress has appointed former Member of Parliament and Minister Yusuf Hussaini to replace Major Leader Mahama Ayariga on the three-member committee investigating alleged vote buying in the party's Ayawasa East parliamentary primaries. The decision was announced by NDC Secretary Fifi Fievi Kwete following Mr. Ayariga's decision to step aside after the party's majority caucus in the parliament publicly called of the annulment of the primaries. According to the party, Ayariga's continued involvement in the probe had become untenable in the light of caucus positions. A committee charged by Kofi Totobi and originally made up of the Ayariga lawyer Emefa Fuga has been mandated to investigate allegations of inducement and vote buying during the primaries held last Saturday. It is expected to submit its report by Tuesday, February 10, 2026, and make recommendations including possible sanctions and reforms. The probe follows reports that Mohammed Baba Jamal Ahmed allegedly distributed items such as 32-inch television and board X to the Delegates Act. Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor had launched separate investigations into vote buying allegations involved both the NDC and the New Patriotic Party. The NDC said Husseini's appointment is aimed at ensuring continuity of the investigations and reinforcing the party's commitment to internal democracy, transparency, and ethnical political conduct. The National Democratic Congress has given a three-member committee until Tuesday, February 10, 2020, to submit its findings of allegations of vote buying and inducement during the party's Iowa East parliamentary primaries. The committee was constituent following public controversy over the conduct of the primaries held last Saturday. The decision was announced in a statement signed by NDC General Secretary Fifi Flavie Kwete on the 7th February 2026. According to the statement, the panel is mandated to investigate the allegations and make recommendations, including sanctions where necessary, in line with the party's commitment to internal democracy and ethnical political conduct. The commitment is chaired by former Minister Kofi Totobikwei, with Mahama Ayarga MP for Boku Central and lawyer MF Fugwa as members. The probe follows reports that Mohammed Baba Jamal armed alleged distributed items such as 32-inch television sets and board eggs to delegates during the voting process, at party's insiders say many have influenced the outcome. The investigations comes aimed wider scrutiny of internal party elections, as the Office of the Special Prosecutor separately probes voting buying allegations involve both the NDC and the New Patriotic Party. Beyond establishing the fact, the committee is also tasked with proposing long-term reforms to curb inducement in future internal contests. The party has urged members to remain calm as investigations continue. Two men have been arrested at Osu Cemetery for alleged engaging in illegal grave digging as the Kolere Kolete Municipal Assembly steps up efforts to calm down on unlawful exhumations and the unauthorized sale of burial plots. The suspects, Eric Annan and Joseph Donko, were arrested in the early hours of Friday, 6 February 2026, during a joint operation involving the cemetery center and a municipal security task force. Confirming the arrest, Assemblyman of the Kinkawe electoral area, George Abeikum Annan, said the operation forms part of the broader measures to restore order at public cemeteries within the municipality. This action reflects our commitment to protecting public cemeteries and ending illegal activities, he said. The two have since been handed over to the Osu police to assist with investigations and possible prosecution. The arrest following a press conference addressed on Thursday, February 5, 2026, by the municipal chief executive, who raised concern over illegal exhumations and the sale of burial spaces at the Osu Cemetery. Subsequently, the Assembly deployed a security task force to take control of the facility. Coman has reiterated the zero-tolerance stance to illegal practices at public cemeteries. pledging to safeguard the dignity of the deceased and integrity of burial grounds. The Abossey Spare Parts Dealers Association has strengthened a one-week strike in government fails to urgently review a newly implemented 20% value-added tax under the Value-Added Tax Article 2025, Article 1151. In a statement dated February 8, 2026, and signed by its head of communications, Techi Ado, the association said the new VAT regime is negatively affecting pricing, competitiveness, and compliance within the spare parts sector. According to the dealers, spare parts previously attracted a 4% VAT, allowing for relatively stable prices. Under a new regime, an item that sold of 500 Ghana cedis now attracts 100 Ghana cedis in VAT, pushing the prices to 600, an additional 800 binding on consumers. Association also raised concerns over what it described as unequal application of the tax, noting that businesses with annual turnovers above 750 Ghana cedis are required to charge the full VAT, while smaller operators sell at lower prices despite sourcing from the same importers. This imbalance penalizes compliance and growth while encouraging informality, the statement said. The group further complained that some dealers are unable to claim input VAT on locally sourced goods, placing them at a disadvantage. While supporting government revenue mobilizers efforts, the association proposed a reduced VAT rate of 5 to 8% for spare parts or a flat sector-specific rate of 3%, warning that failure of act could trigger industrial actions. We respectfully request an urgent review of the VAT structure as applied to the spare parts sector, the statement added. The Abossey Spare Parts Dealers Association has strengthened a one-week strike if the government fails to urgently review the 20% value-added tax introduced under the Value-Added Tax Article 25, Act 1151. In a statement dated 8 February 2026, it's signed by the head of communication. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced investigation into the alleged vote buying and vote selling during the New Patriotic Party and National Democratic Congress primaries held earlier this year. In a public notice dated February 8, 2026, the Special Prosecutor probes the NPP presidential primaries held on January 31, 2026, and the NDC parliamentary primaries in Iowa East conduct on the 7th February 2020. According to the office, the investigation focused on allegations of vote buying, vote selling, and the source of funding linked to the alleged corrupt acts. The special prosecutor disclosed that it conducted a real-time investigation during the NDC Iowa East primaries following reports of electoral malpractice and intimidation. The OSP discloses that it conducted a real-time investigation during the NDC Iowa East primaries following reports on electoral malpractice and intimidation. It further alleged that one of the candidates, Mohammed Baba Jamal Ahmed, abetted individuals to physical attack on the OSP office who has performed investigative duties during the primaries. As a result, the office had opened an additional investigation into the alleged assault of an unauthorized office in the line of duty. The OSP stressed that voting buying, voting selling, intimidation, and electoral violence remain serious criminal offenses under Ghanaian law and assured the public it will pursue all credible allegations and take appropriate legal actions where evidence warrants prosecution. A coalition of unemployment tertiary graduates with disabilities has given the government a 1 month ultimatum to present a clear employment roadmap or face nationwide protest. In a statement, the coalition of unemployment tertiary graduates with disabilities expresses frustrations over what it described as a year of neglect, noting that hundreds of qualified graduates have remained unemployed for more than 6 years after completing their tertiary education. For over 6 years, hundreds of us qualified and certified by tertiary institutions have been left to languishly in poverty at home. The statement said, describing the situation as a violation of their fundamental rights and dignity. Citing data from the 2021 Population and Housing Census, the coalition said persons with disabilities constitute about 8% of Ghana's population yet face disproportionately high unemployment, while the national unemployment rate is estimated at 13%. Unemployment amongst persons with disabilities in formal sector is nearly doubled, with only about 27% of working age persons with disabilities employed. The group said many graduates with degrees in education, law administration, and information technology had been forced into the informal sector or street begging. The coalition reminded government of its obligations under the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the Persons with Disability Act 2006 at 715, and ILO guidelines on disability employment quotas. It also referenced President John Dramani Mahama recent pledge to introduce a 5% employment quota for persons with disabilities in both public and private sectors. We are not asking for charity, we are demanding our right to work, the statement said. Among its demands are an immediate recruitment roadmap for unemployed graduates with disabilities, full enforcement of employment quotas in public institutions, incentives for private employees, and an end of discriminating recruitment processes. The coalition warned that failure to act within 1 month will trigger mass protests across all 16 regions in Ghana. Convener Gilbert Watson Ajaria said the problem could be resolved with political will, adding and repeated engagement with relevant ministers had yielded no results. The group appealed to the media and public to support its causes, stressing that inclusiveness employment is essential for national development. The Accra Regional Police Commander has arrested a 53-year-old man, Seth Welbeck, for alleged threatening a police investigator with a firearm and possessing a weapon and ammunition without lawful authority. In a press release dated February 7th, police said the arrest followed a cult-related incident in the Accra Circuit Court on Tuesday, February 3rd. According to the police, Welbeck was appearing before the court in a separate document for good case and had been served with a criminal summons. After proceedings, he was being escorted to the court cells when he requested permission to lock his vehicle. The police said that during the process, Welbeck retrieved a Smith & Wesson SD9 VE pistol loaded with 9 rounds of 9mm ammunition munitions from the vehicle and allegedly pointed it at the investigator, threatening him. The suspect was quickly disarmed with the assistance of other court officials and witnesses, the statement said. Welbeck is currently in police custody assisting with investigations and expected to be arraigned before court. The Accra Regional Police Commander has cautioned the public against violent conduct and unlawful possessions of firearms, urging respect for court procedures and cooperation with law enforcement. Any attempt to obstruct justice, intimidated public office, or resort to violence will be dealt with firmly in accordance with the law, the police warned. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, says the board is urgently working on measures to support cocoa farms aimed growing economic pressures. Speaking on the challenges facing the sector, Dr. Randy Abbey acknowledged the difficult conditions confronting farmers and assured them that relief efforts are underway. We know these are very difficult times for the farmers, and I can assure you we are looking for solutions soon, he said. He comments come against the backdrop of raising production costs, climate-related risks, and funding constraints that have negatively affected farmer incomes and outcomes in recent seasons. Dr. Abbey said Cocoa Board is engaging governments and key industry stakeholders to develop interventions aimed at improving sustainability and strengthening farmers' support systems. Although no timelines were provided, the assurance comes as farmers continue to call for stronger institutional backing to help caution them against cost pressures and uncertainties in the global cocoa market, the cocoa remaining a key driver of Ghana's export areas. Why end the news? Headlines recaps. Majority caucus calls for cancellation of Ayawase East primary over vote buying allegations. NDC appoints Inis Ofiseni as Ayariga steps down from Ayawase East Primary Probe Committee. NDC committee given February 10 deadline to submit Ayawase East vote buying reports. 2 arrested at Osu Cemetery over illegal grave digging. Abosuakai spare parts delays threaten 1-week strike over new VAT regime. OSP probes NPP presidential NDC Ayawaso East parliamentary primaries over vote buying allegations. Unemployment graduates within disabilities set 30-day ultimatum for unemployment plan or face protest. Police arrest 53-year-old man for the threat of death, unlawful possession of firearm. We are working on solutions to pay struggling cocoa farmers. Cocoa Board. My name is Samira Franklin. The end of the morning news. Up next, sports.